young to remember who George Bush Jr. is, but some of us are old enough to know. I was in high school. Yeah, that was a very memorable time. So the reason why ICE was formed originally was to create some sort of enforcement mechanism, especially with people who happen to have high crimes in the United States and don't necessarily have status. That way this group can go around and pick them up for the justice of the country, right? Next. So they fall under Homeland Security. If you guys know, after 9/11, they ended up restructuring all the government institutions. They created Department of Homeland Security, and everything falls under that. That means if you want to send out an application for a loved one to come here to the United States, it's going to go through Department of Homeland Security. If you want a tourist visa, Department of Homeland Security. If you even think about anything immigration, Homeland Security. Next slide. You can skip through these. We don't really need this. Next one. Okay, so tactics that ICE is doing today. How are we going to protect ourselves considering that we're in an information age that is beyond anything we have ever known, okay? Every time you pick up your cell phone, data is being collected. That data that's collected is being collected by corporations. Those corporations are working in tandem with the US government. Believe it or not, a lot of your information ends up with the US government. They can start using that data to find out where people live, who they talk to, who their families are, and whatever else information that they like to creepily to get a hold of. Next one. One big issue that we're dealing with right now that a lot of people are seeing on TV, newspapers, the internet, whatever it may be, is the whole kidnapping scenarios that we're seeing on the street. They're going into shopping malls, they're going to supermarkets, they're going into all kinds of places, and they are taking people off the street or from their homes, all right, putting them in unmarked vehicles and disappearing them until they can finally, hopefully, be able to call some family or some friend to let them know where they are, all right? Is this legal? To us, no. But to the people in charge right now, they're enforcing security, right? Now, there's a lot of class actions against what's going on because literally, unless there is some sort of a warrant, and we're talking about judicial warrants, okay? Something signed by a judge, as this person should be arrested because of X, Y, Z. There should be no reason why they're picking people off the street. Absolutely none, all right? So, in our opinion, and in many people's opinions, in many Congress people's opinions, what they're doing is illegal. It's called kidnapping. Next. Who's at risk of being detained? If you tan in the sun, there's a pretty good chance you're at risk of being detained, all right? That includes me. That includes most of the people I think in this room. Most of us don't need that high of SPF. So here's what you guys have to keep in mind, okay? I get questions like, oh, should I just laminate my passport and wear it around my neck? Sure. But is that going to save you? Who knows? So at the end of the day, just be careful with the surroundings and everything that's around you, okay? If you're a U.S. citizen, there's a pretty good chance, hopefully, in the event that you get kidnapped off the street, they're going to figure out that you're a U.S. citizen. It could take them 5 days. It could take them 25 days. We've seen them take 25 days. So in the event that that happens, they will find out you're a U.S. citizen. They have to bring you back, okay? And then you can sue them. So just remember that. Make sure you sue them. Next one. National numbers. Oh, here, I'm going to let Doha take this one over from here on out so that she can explain the numbers and what's going on.
Thank you. So actually, these numbers are a little backdated. The numbers that we see currently are much, much higher than what you see on the screen. Our files in the office are probably as big as this room. But anyways, the point is, currently, we have 3 million cases in backlog just of immigration. So this is all just people who are being put in removal proceedings, if you have any issues with ICE, anything like that. And all of these just by July of 2025. So we're already at the end of August. The cases have been a lot, we've had a lot more. Oh, my bad. And then only 21% of these were represented in cases where their removal was ordered. So essentially what happened was you see like this little blue section right here, that's the amount of people who had an attorney. I'm sure many of you have seen a lot of the scenes that we've seen on Instagram and TikTok where there's been like 4-year-olds without representation going into immigration courts. That's real. We've had so many people go into immigration courts without representation because when it comes to immigration, you are not obligated to have an attorney. With everything else, you have the right to an attorney, but when it comes to immigration, if you're not a citizen, it does not matter. You don't deserve to have an attorney. So all of these cases have been without an attorney, and more often than not, they are ordered removed. So that's the same thing that we saw with that 4-year-old who had cancer a few months back. They were ordered removed. They literally came here just to get cancer treatment, and then they were just ordered removed because they couldn't be here without a citizenship or a visa. So we see that happen way too often. And it's happening more and more, which is why it's very important to remember everything we're telling you today. Again, Donald Trump has started his whole campaign saying we're going to get rid of illegal immigrants who have criminal records. That was his whole campaign. And everyone was all for it because everyone was thinking, why would we want criminals anyway, right? The issue that we're seeing is that only 1.55% were based on criminal activity. The rest is literally picking up people at their places of work, at places of schools, doing whatever, you just get picked up, whether you have a criminal history or not, right? Ooh, bismillah. Okay. As of August 10th, we have almost 60,000 people in detention facilities. And the way that they do it, that we've seen all the time, is that they hop you around from detention facility to detention facility just to keep you out of reach, you know? Where was it? They move you from here to Texas to, what was it, like Arizona, back to Texas, somewhere else?
So we've been, wow, this is really loud. Yeah. Okay, so we've been seeing clients being moved around. Like, let's say, for instance, somebody gets arrested in Santa Ana, okay? Just up the street over here. They'll be in a holding cell, all right, or a holding room, I guess you would call it, with like dozens of other people, right? And then they get sent to what's called their central location, which is Los Angeles, downtown. It's called the Roybal Building. So if anybody ever passes by the Roybal Building, you know, spit a little wind their way. So they hold these people, okay? And then what ends up happening is they have to find space in some sort of detention center somewhere in the country. Not in California, the country. So we've seen people get flown out to New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Alaska, wherever it is that they could find space to be able to set this person up for detention. And they haven't even been processed yet. They don't know if this person's a green card holder. They don't know if this person's a US citizen. They don't know what this person is, okay? Only until they show up to the detention center are they assigned an ICE officer, then they start running their fingerprints, they start running their details to figure out who this person is. And that could take anywhere between 7 to 20 days. Exactly.
70.4% of current detainees have no criminal conviction. So literally majority of the people in this room, if we were all detained by ICE, there would only be, there would only be like this section of the room right there that is a criminal detainee, right? And this was the entire basis of the whole detainee program. So it's just very important to keep that off the top of your head. You don't have to be a criminal in order for you to be targeted by ICE. They kind of just go after whoever they think they can.
And so, just FYI, just to piggyback on that, being a criminal doesn't necessarily mean you've been convicted. If you're arrested for something, even wrongfully, that puts you on ICE's radar. So you may not even be a criminal. You may be completely innocent. They just confuse you for somebody else, which happens all the time in this country. So that, in of itself, allows them to be able to arrest you.
Do you want to take this one? Okay.
Okay, so what should you do when you encounter ICE? 2 things. Don't say anything and don't sign anything, okay? And here's why. Anything you say can be used against you. We've heard this over and over again, TV shows, commercials, anything that has to do with cops, right? Don't say anything because it can be used against you, okay? And don't sign anything. Even if they come to you and say, oh, this is just a form that says that, you know, we detain you. Don't sign that. Because we've been seeing that ICE has been trying to get tricky, and they'll give you a voluntary departure, a voluntary deportation form, and if you sign that, you just signed your own deportation. It doesn't matter if you're a green card holder. You just deported yourself, okay? And then you have to call somebody like me, and we have to go through the whole fight process to try to figure out how we can reverse this thing and convince the judge that, you know, you just didn't know what you were signing. I get it. We all get nervous whenever, like, you know, a group of guys come over, especially in masks, and tells you, hey, we're with ICE, we're with Department of Homeland Security, we're here to take you, okay? We get it, we totally get it. Just don't say anything, don't sign anything, wait till they move you around, and then you get to a place where you could talk to somebody, especially an attorney, okay?
And just to piggyback off of that, sometimes they hand you forms and they don't tell you that it's voluntary departure forms. We've seen that too. So they will literally tell you, oh, it's like a medical form, or they'll just say, just sign here, and you have no idea what it is. So if that happens, do not pick up that pen no matter what. That's the most important thing to remember.
All right, be calm. Yeah, right. Don't run. Oh, this is really important. So get this. ICE has, there were a couple ICE agents that we came in contact with and we got chummy with, and so we started talking to them and being like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? And he's like, hey, what's up? So we asked them, we were like, so what's reasonable suspicion? What's probable cause? Because in order for law enforcement to be able to detain somebody, they have to have, at the minimum, what's called reasonable suspicion. What's reasonable suspicion? Basically, they have an idea, a feeling that something's going wrong, right? Now, when it comes to ICE, just seeing somebody who could tan in the sun makes them feel that way, but that shouldn't be the reason, okay? So if ICE starts showing up, believe it or not, they wait for somebody to run. Why? Because somebody who runs gives them reasonable suspicion. So make sure, tell everybody you know. If you come in contact with ICE, don't run, all right? Don't say nothing, don't sign nothing, but don't run. Because that gives them a reason to be able to detain you. Don't lie or provide false documents, even if you are undocumented. Don't lie, don't say you're a U.S. citizen, don't say you're a green card holder, and say any of that stuff, because that is some of the worst things that could be used against you when you're in front of a judge. Oh, well, Your Honor, Joe Schmo over here said that he's a U.S. citizen. Turns out he's undocumented, so he's falsifying himself. And you know what falsifying means under immigration law, and it's a permanent ban from the United States, okay? Don't obstruct their activities. You don't want to like get between them and whoever it is that they're trying to detain, because they could try to get you for obstruction. Also, a lot of times they like to call the local police, and so like the local police will show up and, oh, you're obstructing, they'll arrest you for obstruction and bring charges against you. It's a total mess. So you'll need another lawyer to help you with that one. The Fourth Amendment, man, that was a good amendment. So that one basically says that you can't police cannot search unreasonably in places of what you would consider privacy. So, for instance, let's say ICE comes to your house, okay? They knock on your door, they ring your doorbell. What do? Do you talk to them? No, exactly, no. Don't say anything. Pretend nobody's home, okay? You have no duty to speak to ICE. No duty. Nothing in the law says you have to speak to them. Even if they say we have a warrant, okay? You don't have to speak. Pretend everybody's sleeping. Pretend everybody went on vacation. There's nobody home, okay? Don't answer the door. In the masjid, okay? Law samahallah, ICE shows up, and you'll know if ICE shows up because the cars either don't have license plates or they say U.S. government, okay? Those are the two giveaways that there might be ICE. If you see them, bring everybody in, lock the doors. Nobody has to open the doors to ICE. Nobody. You are in a space of reasonable privacy. Yeah. What's that? Say which part? In the masjid? Lock the doors. Bring everybody in. Don't let anybody out. Okay? What they'll end up doing is they'll wait around. They're not that motivated. Okay? Most of them are not motivated. Most of them, to be honest with you, have no idea what they're doing. All they're doing, like they follow orders, these guys. Like their brain cells are very, very minimal. Like you're talking about people that couldn't become cops, okay? And we all know how smart you have to be a cop, right? So like these guys couldn't make it, all right? These are like how simple they are. They follow orders. Somebody says, oh, I'll get the brown guy. That's all they do is like, you know, they're just looking for a brown guy, that's it. So lock everybody in. It doesn't matter what they say or how they try to convince you. Just keep them here until they get bored, they leave. So this part here is very, very important, okay? I have yet to see a warrant, but allegedly people are being shown warrants.
Please take a photo of this slide. You might need this for further reference.
Just for reference, okay? There are two types of warrants that exist by ICE, okay? One is called an administrative warrant. What's an administrative warrant? It's a warrant that some ICE official signed. That one doesn't count. That's nothing warrant. That's trying to convince you to open the door warrant. That's not a real thing. They have to have what's called a judicial warrant. Judicial warrants are signed by a judge, and the signature has to be right there. You see how complicated the judicial warrant looks like on the left side versus how crappy the administrative warrant looks on the right side? This is a huge difference. If it's not signed by a judge, it doesn't count, okay? And in the event, somehow, some way, they do actually have a judicial warrant, okay? Like, let's say you're in the masjid, everybody's in the masjid, and everybody's just staring at them. Make sure that, don't open the door. Show it in the window. Make sure it's signed by a judge. And then don't open the door for them. Let them know that the person's gonna come out, and that's it, okay? Because the minute you open the door in the house, the minute you open the door in the masjid, the minute you open the door anywhere that you are, they will come in and they'll arrest everybody that they can, trying to figure out who's undocumented and who's not, okay? Because remember, they have a quota, right? Our Mango Fuhrer in the White House said he wants 3,000 arrests a day, okay? How are you gonna get 3,000 arrests? You walk into people's houses, you take everybody with you. They all count as arrests, whether or not they're documented or not, okay? So make sure, the more we resist, the more we make their life difficult, the harder it's gonna be for them to be able to meet their quotas. And they're burning through money right now. Yes? Yeah, absolutely. You could say closed space. Put up, you don't just, you could even yell it. It's now a private space. This is not a public area anymore. Something like that. Super easy to do. The universities were doing it during the Palestine protests, right? I mean, they were calling public places private all of a sudden, even though it's government property. Next slide, please.
Wait, did everyone take a photo? Yes?
Yeah.
We're good?
But not of me, of the thing, right? Okay. So, same thing, employment, school, wherever you guys work, okay? Make sure at your workplaces, especially if they're heavily immigrant, we're talking about tech industry, we're talking about, factories, whatever it may be. If there's a lot of people who can tan in the sun in that building, that could be a building that gets targeted by ICE. Please make sure that management is aware of these things, because in the event ICE shows up, sometimes they won't come in. They'll just stand outside and wait for people to come out. Like around 5 o'clock, right? Everybody's getting out of work. They'll wait for people. They'll be like, oh yeah, this guy kind of looks like he might be undocumented. So they'll start approaching people. In the event you start seeing cars that don't have license plates or have US government plates, make sure, okay, your management knows this. They lock all the doors, they keep everybody inside until these guys get bored and leave. All right? Next. I went over the home part. Okay, also, I'm very extroverted. If you have an extroverted family member who just is dying to talk to somebody, just make sure he doesn't answer the door, or she, okay? Just keep him away from the door, all right? Amazon, eBay, none of these delivery companies, they don't even, they ring the doorbell and they go, okay? They don't even stay to talk. So just know that if it's a delivery, give it 5 minutes before you go and check out the door, just because we don't want to risk it, okay? Just be careful with the opening the door part. Place of worship, I went through that. Next. Your car. Oh, this is a tough one. So, back in the day, in the 1950s, the car used to be considered a place of reasonable privacy, all right? These days, not so much. And the reason is because if a cop walked by your car and can look inside of it, is it really that private? Not really, right? So, your car could be a place, it could be considered a public space. It's kind of a gray area kind of thing. So they could try to detain somebody in their car. The only thing I can tell you guys is that in the event authorities do approach the car and get in front of it, don't try running somebody over, because the charges start getting worse if that happens. Just like I said, don't say anything, don't sign anything, and hopefully you'll have somebody that you can call right away in order to be able to remedy the situation. Next. In public spaces, this is where the majority of the detentions are actually happening. We all saw what they did in Oxnard, right, on the farms, okay? They raided the farms and went after a bunch of people that were picking food for our tables, all right? It was absolutely tragic. One person died. It was just like, you know, it's the kind of tactics that we would see in other countries from decades prior, thinking to ourselves, oh, this will never happen here. Well, guess what's happening here? So just be aware of your public spaces and where you are, and make sure you have an idea of what kind of cars are around. Like I said, no license plate, US government plates. There's a pretty good chance that that might be ICE, okay? Witnessing an ICE interaction. Okay, a lot of us like to record stuff, okay? Record, that's fine. Make sure you have a distance, at least like 10 feet, all right? Don't get in between them, you know, you don't have to get that close and that live, okay? So like, just keep a distance. You don't say anything. Don't like start cursing at ICE. I know we all get the urge, I do. And so you guys just gotta really just kind of like create that buffer between you. And the reason why recording is important is because not only can you get the person's name, you know, yell at them, be like, what's your name? They'll tell you the name. A lot of people have been doing that. That way, you know, family members and stuff know who this person was, and also to show how ICE has been kidnapping people off the street. Next. Safety plan. Doha's gonna go through this part.
So you guys have already completed step 1 of the safety plan. You know your rights. So you know exactly what to do. We know your car, your house, masjid, workplace. We've got that all covered, right? Solid? I need a yes. I need to make sure that we got it. Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, second, make sure you carry proof of your immigration status, right? If you have your green card, keep it on you at all times. If you have like your real ID on your like driver's license or something, keep that on you at all times. Just on your phone, whatever it is. Point is, you always have a point of reference on what your immigration status is. This is extremely important because then it's gonna take up to however many days he said that it takes up to, right? Know your immigration legal options and speak with an immigration attorney. So if you have any immigration questions, we help with immigration. We also have these cards up here that if you ever come into interaction with ICE and you are forced to go with them or something is supposed to happen, we have these cards right here that specifically say, let me read it out to you. I do not wish to speak to you, answer your questions, or sign or hand you any documents based on my Fifth Amendment rights under the United States Constitution. And then I don't give you permission to enter my home based on the Fourth Amendment rights under the US Constitution. I don't give you permission to search any of my belongings based on the Fourth Amendment Constitution. And I choose to exercise my constitutional rights. These cards are for you, so you can come pick them up whenever you want. The other side also has more. Just hand this to an immigration officer. We also have an Arabi, if you, so that's for your reference, but you know, these cards, if someone comes to your door, just slide it under the door if you have to interact with them. But again, number 1 interaction, pretend no one's home. If you have to like deal with them in a workplace, masjid, whatever, just slide it under the door. Do not open the door and give it to them. That's the most important thing. So just give it to them, and then hopefully that should be the end of it. So these are right here for everyone. Inshallah, I'll bring some from the sisters as well. 4, be prepared. Subhanallah. Now you guys know 1 and 4. Alhamdulillah. Number 5, collect and record information and gather documents for those in at-risk groups of being targeted by ICE. So if you know someone in your family, someone in anything, or just even a friend that is at risk, or you think they might be at risk, make sure you have their documents on hand. I know we all like put it under the mattress and we put it under things like that. Just keep it in a separate space that's easy access, or at least have a file on your phone that's easy access, right? So you always want to have some form of reference, make copies, do whatever you need to do. Just make sure that all that information is in one spot that can be accessed within a moment's notice, literally a moment's notice, okay? Choose a caregiver or a plan for child care needs. I honestly don't know what this one is, like just if you need help with anyone?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's in the event that, like, let's say you have kids, right? Or like you know somebody who has kids and he or she is a single parent and they're at risk of ICE, make sure somebody creates a plan with that person, right? Because in the event they get picked up, who's gonna take care of the kids? So make sure there's family plans in case something, like this might happen.
And ICE doesn't care. Like if your excuse is, I have a child that needs to be taken care of, they'll say, yalla, your child can come visit you. They really don't care. So just make sure that you have a plan for that. Essentially, we all know how to be prepared. Just do it to the best of your capability. Make sure you have everything on hand. Please pick up one of these. They are for you. You could do whatever. And we also have different ones over here that if you have any citizenship services, it has our information as well, if any of you want them. If the sisters want, I'll bring some upstairs as well. So inshallah, those are all on hand. And then resources. Okay, so you might want to take a picture of this too. The Orange County Rapid Response Network. This is what you want to call if something happens, right? If someone you know gets detained, if you want to report any ICE activities, if you want to do any of the above, right? This is who you want to call for immediate access, right? If you need to go to a detention facility to see a loved one or something, this is who you want to call. If you have an issue that needs legal representation, then call us, because we are honestly extremely backed up. So we can't promise to be there within the seconds notice of something happening, but obviously we put everything that is really high up on the priority list, we put it all the way at the top. But for immediate response, call this. For general legal information and just for general legal help or immigration status, whatever it is, go ahead and call us. We offer free immigration services.
At the very least, we can give you a consult, all right? And then give you a pep talk on what the next steps are, okay? Because we don't want people to be blind as to what's going on. We've been through it already for, how long has this guy been president? It feels like 20 years, but like I think it's been, what, like 7 months? So yeah, ever since he's been in the White House, things have just been getting worse. So we've been seeing how they've been doing things. We've been seeing the rhythms of how they've been doing things. So at the very least, we could provide a consult, and that way you guys have an idea of what to do and what next steps are.
We also have walk-in times for immigration services on Tuesdays between 1 and 3:30. So if you literally come to the CAIR building in Anaheim between 1 and 3:30, someone will sit down with you, do an intake, get all your general information, and you will also get a consult with an attorney on the spot. So if there's something urgent, please just come over to the office. If it's not urgent, just give us a call and someone will put you on a slot to be consulted with an attorney.
We can do it over the phone. Just FYI, it's thanks to people like you that CAIR is able to function, okay? I personally, as you can see from the bags under my eyes, I have like 48 cases, all right? We have 6 attorneys, we're gonna have 7 in September, that'll be nice. We could use that guy. So there's gonna be more cases that we're gonna be able to do now that we have a new attorney on the roster. So we're trying to do as many cases as we can, but as you know, we're only human. And like all machines, they need to rest. We do too. So like there's only so many hours in the day, and we try to get through these cases as much as we can. So we will try to do our best to be able to get to whatever matter it is that you need. It's just not always guaranteed because there is definitely a wait list, and it's a little backed up. And by a little, I mean a lot. That's our information there. So we'll open it up to any questions that you guys have. Feel free. Yes, we'll start with the front.
Thank you. I was saying, would you recommend if we're citizens to keep copies of our passport and stuff within our cars if we're approached by ICE? And if we are, should we say like, accompany me to my car, I'll show you proof of my citizenship and stuff, or no?
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. But if I were you, I'd take a picture of it. Keep it on your phone.
Well, the reason I'm saying my phone is because then sometimes you know how they're having, like people coming into the country, they want to go in through your phone and then feel like they have a right to go through your phone. If you show them your phone, they could go through other stuff, right?
Oh, you're talking at the airport?
No, I'm just saying anywhere. Like, just like how they would do that for you at the airport without your approval, they could say, if you have it on your phone, they could just grab it and then start going through other stuff.
Sure.
So
sure.
Would you recommend having a hard copy
Yeah,
of it?
sure. I mean, keep a passport in the car if you'd like. Just make sure that it's safe. And to be honest with you, if you show your ID and your ID is a real ID, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to realize that there's some paperwork behind this real ID. Okay, whether it's citizenship, whether it's a green card, something. Okay, a real ID says a lot. So a lot of times, from what we've been hearing, if they see a real ID, it usually causes them to back up and start asking some more questions. But like I said, you don't have to answer them. Just show them the real ID. If they see the real ID, they have a choice to make. 1, they fill the quota that day with your arrest and then a lawsuit later on. Or 2, they just let you go and you go on your day.
So if we're a citizen and we have a regular ID and not a real ID, there's a chance they can still detain us and so forth?
Yeah, if you have a regular ID that like is a red flag to them that there might not be paperwork behind that, like you might be an undocumented immigrant.
Huh. My passport? Yeah. Okay.
Like a piece of paper, like a printout.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it. Brother behind you?
I needed to apply for citizenship, and I came several times to your office. And first time I talked with the Idris, there's some guy that Afghani guy Idris, and every time I come, he said, "Oh, he'll call you," but he never called me. And I just need a sample to apply for citizenship. I need help.
Yeah, we're sorry, brother. It's just that it's you and 1,000 other people that need citizenships, and everybody wants a free attorney, so we try to get through the list as much as we can. So here's what I recommend. Do me a favor. If you want, give a call next week on Thursday, okay, and ask for me, Ramzi.
Ramzi?
Okay?
Okay.
And then we could try to see if we could, I'll try to push your file through.
Okay, like if you want me to come over there, visit, like come over there or no?
Can you call first? Because if Thursday I have like so many appointments and I have court, so I don't think I'm gonna have time to be able to see somebody on Thursday. But if you call, I could definitely let our supervisor know that you've been trying for a while now, and hopefully she could push you on to somebody else who could do your application.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Next, anybody? First him and then you, brother.
If you have a valid ID, you can show it to them, right?
Yeah. They're gonna ask for. Do you have any ID?
Yeah,
So you
it's
say
not like
yeah.
you just don't say anything, just calm down.
Yeah. No. Just show them the ID and don't say nothing.
That's okay.
Yeah, that'd be the best way. Could you give it to the brother behind you, please?
If somebody in the grocery store and they, let's say, our family, they don't speak English, they just speak Arabic, they're covered women, and what is the best advice, you know? What's the best advice for our sisters who doesn't speak English?
Best advice for shopping?
No, I mean, when they get the ICE.
If they come in contact with ICE.
Yeah.
Same thing. If they ask for ID, show them ID, but don't say anything, don't sign anything. It's the same advice.
Are you saying they don't speak English, they don't understand English?
Oh, well, the cards. They could, this card here in the back is in Arabi, okay? And in the front is in English. They just have to show this to them. They know what these are. They hate them, okay? So they have to understand what's going on here, all right?
And when they come in contact with you, let's say in the street, and you have to answer, you get your ID, and they ask you some question. What question you don't answer? What question you answer? Like
the only question you should ask is, "Am I being detained?" Okay. That's it, and then they are going to answer that. It's a confusing question for them. Like I said, they're very simple creatures. So detaining could mean a bunch of things for them. What detaining means is that you're not free to leave. Okay? So am I being detained should mean, can I go away now, or are you going to keep me here, right? Can I not leave? That's the only question you have to ask. If they ask for ID, show your ID, okay? And then don't say nothing, and don't sign anything. And if you want, you can give them our phone number, all right? If you guys want to pull out your phones now, I could give you the phone number now, but it's 714. Do you want to show them the screen? 714-776-1177. So that's the phone number. Give them the phone number. Say, here, speak to my attorney. Believe it or not, in the early days of ICE, before they were given this quota, saying, here's my attorney's phone number, some people used to show our phone numbers to them, and it used to make them back off because they're just like, oh, there must be some process going on here, right? Like there must be some paperwork behind this. So so they used to back off, but once they were given the quota, now, you know, they're a full-on Gestapo. Anybody else? Oh, for the brother in the back?
Assalamu alaikum, thank you.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you for doing this.
Definitely.
Great job. And what about teens, right? My son and his friends, they often play soccer at the park. Do we keep their birth certificates with them?
No. Just make sure they have their IDs on them. A lot of the kids, they have school IDs. They don't have like licenses or state IDs or anything like that. But
They're homeschooled.
Oh, they're homeschooled? Oh,
Yeah.
even better. That's they'll be ID'd every time they go in their house. So no, they if they're over 16, if they're 16 and over, 16 is California, right, for drivers. So yeah, hopefully they'll have a driver's license. If they don't, then you usually don't go after kids. So
Okay.
we're hopeful that continues, because going after kids could go one of two ways. It's not a good situation for anybody. Okay, so but what we have seen is that they will show up at schools, okay? And the reason why they show up at schools is because they'll wait for the parents to pick up their kids. So if they're looking for somebody, all right, they could pick them up right there in public, detain them in front of the whole school. And we've seen this numerous times. There's all kinds of video on social media about it. And then they pick the person up, and these kids are just not knowing what to do next, okay? So that's why safety planning and family planning is really, really important. Because in the event that does happen, somebody needs to take in these kids, right? Next question?
Yeah, for U.S. citizens and international travel.
For just international travel in general. That's a good question, actually, okay? When you fly out of here, wherever you're going, it's most likely freer than where we are right now. So if you're coming back, all right, make sure two things get done. One, delete your social media apps from your phone, okay? Not social media, like you can keep your profiles and stuff. Make sure they're private before you come back, but delete the actual app from your phone, okay? Because in the event they take your phone and somehow unlock it, they will look through your social media because they want to see what you think about Palestine, what you think of Sudan, what you think about the United States, And then they don't want you don't want that to get you in trouble, right? Another thing too, when you're flying back, change your unlock settings on your phone from your face or your thumb to a pattern or a password. The most secure is the password. So just memorize a password for one day, okay? Use that, because believe it or not, it's harder for them to get into your phone with a password than it is if they just pick up your phone and point it at your face, okay? That's the last thing you need, all right? What's that? Before your green card. Oh yeah, and if you have an asylum approved, don't go anywhere. All right, you have to chill for like a year in order for you to be able to get your green card. So don't move. All right, it's not that bad yet. Next, sisters, anybody? Don't be shy. We can have the sister answer you. Yeah, yes, sister. Okay, I like the important ones. Go ahead, feel free, sister.
If someone has the green card for like 30 years ago,
Okay,
he didn't apply for citizenship
correct.
because he had 2 DUI. And now the green card is going to expire in December.
Okay,
So
that sounds like a personal situation, but the sister asked, somebody has a green card for over 20 years, and they have 2 DUIs, and their green card's about to expire. That sounds like a TV show, right? Usually. So what do? Renew your green card. Yeah, you don't have a choice, right?
but they're not going to arrest him?
It's possible, or they're not going to care. We're not going to care. We've been seeing that people have been getting okay, here's how you guys got to think of it. In 2014, there was a list that came out called the moral turpitude list. What moral turpitude means is that you are doing things so immoral that you become deportable. Okay, you're prime for deportation. All right. What are those things? Believe it or not, 2 misdemeanors and a felony. A lot of times, any crimes of violence, we're talking domestic violence, fighting people just on the street, all this stuff, any crime of violence, believe it or not, misdemeanor or felony makes you deportable. So just keep that in mind, all right? Be good to your spouses, all right? Don't hit them. Use your words, just nicer words. So that way, everybody is happy and there's no issues in the future. especially when it comes to immigration, because they look for any excuse. These days, when it comes to violence, you don't even have to be convicted, just arrested, right? Something happens, or some neighbors call the cops and say we heard somebody hit somebody, and they take somebody to jail, and you're on a green card, ICE can come for you, okay? They will try to get your green card reversed. This is the policy right now. They're trying to be as aggressive as possible. Yes? Oh, what vehicles did they use? Your everyday vehicles. I saw a 2006 Toyota Corolla. I haven't seen a 2006 since my sister bought one, okay? And let me tell you, they're driving that around without license plates, making it look like it's a normal thing, all right? But one thing I did realize, we went to go visit some clients at the ICE detention center in Roybal in downtown LA. And we ended up, it was during the whole, like, you know, they called it the National Guard. They were making this big show, right? And so we ended up going down into this basement area. It looked like a dungeon. It is a dungeon, actually. And ICE was setting up over there. And what we realized was, ICE is using Sprinter vans. If you guys know what Sprinter vans are, they're like the long white vans. They look like they're going around selling like daily deals from like Amazon and eBay, right? But like, no, there's people in those vans. So it's unbelievable how under the radar they're trying to be with the vehicles that they have, with what they're doing, with the people driving. But some of them did have US government plates on it. So it's a pretty good chance that in the event you come in sight of one of these vehicles and you see a US government plate, it might be ICE. Or there might be nuclear weapons back there. I don't know. Yes?
With that case, I have to ask you about it. We should have a token thing when you're using green card?
You know, sister, renewing your green card with two how long ago were the DUIs? Over 5 years? He did his probation, he did all that stuff?
No.
He didn't do his probation? Oh, he's well behaved, huh? All right. So somebody needs a grounding. So yeah, if I were you, I would definitely talk with an attorney to assess it. They're gonna need the entire disposition of these things. Just know, you guys, criminal records doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to not be able to renew your green card or be able to get your citizenship. It's all a case-by-case basis. So with us or with anybody else, any other attorneys, they're gonna need the full disposition of your courts to be able to have an idea of how this is gonna affect you and whether or not you can actually get that benefit. All right, you got it. Anybody else? Sister. Yes. So the question was, do we recommend that people go with their attorneys to their immigration appointments? Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason is because it shows ICE, it depends on the appointments too, right? If you're talking about ICE check-ins, yeah, it's always great to have an attorney because it shows ICE that there might be a process in place, right? If it's court, yes, definitely have an attorney. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to be able to get the full benefit that you need to while in court. So yeah, I would recommend anything that has to do with immigration. If you have to check in somewhere, if you have to go somewhere, please see if you could take an attorney with you. Mm-mm. Oh yeah, but that could happen anywhere. Yeah, just so you know, like in the event that your property gets taken by the government, even by the police in some sort of your phone or whatever, and they say, hey, come pick this up, see if you can send an attorney instead, okay? Because if you are at risk of deportation, they might be having ICE ready to pick you up. Yes, sister, follow up? The question is if you get a deportation notice, what's a deportation notice? Oh, if like you have to go before a judge? Like a notice to appear? Okay, so before you go before a judge, you get what's called a notice to appear, okay? You have to. The notice to appear says what the government is charging you with, okay? It usually says you are a citizen of yada yada country, that you are not authorized to be here, that we don't like the toothbrush that you use, like it's just like a whole bunch of reasons, right? And so what ends up happening is that says you have to go before a judge. So yes, definitely in the event that happens, go talk to some attorneys and find out what would be the best solution for you. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I wish. So this actually happened to me 4 weeks ago. The brother asked if, about ICE picking people up in the court. So believe it or not, 4 weeks ago, this has never happened to me. Unfortunately, it happened to me. My client, who has actually a really good case, he comes from a war-torn country in Africa, and it's considered the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. The minute we sat down at the table getting ready for our case, I hear DHS say, "Oh, Your Honor, we're looking to dismiss this case." Okay? And that raised some red flags for me because there's no reason why they should be dismissing this case. The asylum application was submitted. He has very good evidence. His declaration was submitted. Everything is ready to go. What are you dismissing for? So I lean over to DHS and I say, "Why are you dismissing this case?" And he said, "Oh, because of statute 241.3. And I'm like, "Okay, but why?" He goes, "Do you want to see the statute?" I'm like, No, I want to know why. And he said, because the government's not interested in this case anymore. Judges are not fighting this, okay? And the reason why is because if they fight these, then they're gonna get fired by you-know-who, okay? He's already fired like 20% of immigration judges, and those were the good ones, the ones that were always giving people asylums, okay? So he wants the mediocre and the hostile ones to stay, all right? And this guy is one of those hostile ones. So the judge barely let me talk, allowed me to reserve appeal, and then dismissed the case, and when we walked out, ICE was ready to detain him. It's a whole conspiracy, okay? So is there a way to prevent that? To be honest with you, I don't know how. I really don't know how without myself getting arrested, to be honest with you. I was so in shock, I didn't know what to do. I'm still kind of in shock, and it was 4 weeks ago. So we filed an appeal, and we're gonna see if we can do a bond motion. But he got arrested in Santa Ana, they moved him to LA, and now he's in Texas. So I have to try to see if I can get him out of Texas. And I feel bad for the guy, he's a good dude. So yeah, believe me, like these cases are not easy. Even if you're a lawyer, they're not easy. They become harder and harder. They're trying to make everything more difficult for us. Yes?
Is there an accurate estimate how many people in total were deported this year and the breakdown ethnically?
The total people deported?
Yeah, this year and ethnically.
Do we have those numbers? Yeah. I don't know if we have those numbers, but I'm sure you could find those numbers, and I'm 1,000% sure they're really inflated, especially if they come from the White House. No, we don't really have those figures, but we've been seeing that they've been trying to meet that 3,000 a day arrest, and they count the whole country, right? It's not just the U.S. Because if you do the math on it, 3,000 arrests a day would come out to about 1 million people arrested, okay? And if they can deport 80% of those, we're talking 800,000 people. So they have, what, a 10-year plan of this fascist little enterprise that they got going? So that could be close to 8 million people. So we are trying to be the front lines of this resistance, okay? Not just us, CAIR, but immigrants and immigration attorneys in general. And the reason is because, as we've seen all throughout history, even in the last 20 years, okay? What fascists do is they go after the most vulnerable people. And who are the most vulnerable people? The most vulnerable people are the people with no rights. And those are people who are not citizens, okay? They put them in detention. They put them in concentration camps. You guys have heard of the Florida swamp concentration camp that they set up and they're closing down, but they want to build a bigger one now? This is the first step. We are on the front lines because once they get past us, once they get past our immigrant brothers and sisters, we all know who's next, okay? I know I am. So you all need to keep in mind that we are the resistance. This is how we resist, and we're doing everything we can to resist. And that's why know your rights. That's why organizations like CAIR are so important. And that's why we need your support more than ever now, is because the more we can resist, the harder it's gonna be for them to do their jobs. And if it's hard for them to do their jobs, they won't be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish and go to the next step, okay? We're literally putting our immigrant families' bodies on the line, unfortunately, when they don't have to be, but it's being forced on us, and the fight starts here. Yes, sir.
You know, speaking about the front line, is there, two-part question, is there any high-profile legal case that we can kind of look towards that's challenging this fiasco of an immigration policy, so we keep an eye on it? And then the second question is there anything that as a community we can do to kind of support some of the, you know, how can some people get involved to kind of help and, like you said, that front line?
Great question. So the first part of that question, I'm sure you've all have heard of Mahmoud Khalil, okay? Mahmoud Khalil is a Palestinian activist in Colombia, and in not the country of Colombia, the university. And so he got arrested. He's a green card holder for exercising his First Amendment right, which is ingrained in, it's like the first thing in the Constitution, right? Free speech. They pride themselves. They talk about free speech so much, but if they don't like your free speech, then they try to detain you. So what they tried to do in this high-profile case, and it wasn't just him, it was also some comrades of his as well who, like one guy was going in for a U.S. citizenship, and they ended up keeping him from doing the oath and making him walk out and get arrested. He eventually got his citizenship. But they're using these cases to scare us, to tell us we can't talk about Palestine, to tell us we can't talk about Sudan, to tell us we can't talk about the Congo, to talk about all these places that are suffering because of capitalism, because of imperialism, because of all these terrible things that are destroying our planet and our people. So they're trying to scare us, but believe it or not, they're finding so many roadblocks because, believe it or not, as a green card holder, you do have the right to say what you want. Believe it or not, even as an undocumented immigrant, you have the right to say what you want in this country as long as it doesn't cause a riot, okay? And the reason is because the Constitution says that the people of the United States have this right, not citizens. There were no citizens back then. There were 13 colonies, and these people were confused as to what they could call themselves. So I'm telling you guys, keep doing what you're doing, keep speaking out, keep talking about all the injustices that are happening. It's incumbent on us as Muslimin. We have to do that. It's like the minimal, the bare minimal. And at the very least, this kind of collective of being able to say, no, we're not going to allow you to scare us. We're not going to allow you to do what you want with us. We are a collective. We are going to defend ourselves in whatever legal way we can. That's where we step in. That's why CAIR is so vital. That's why so many of these organizations are so vital that we partner with. Because as a collective within us and the organizations, we are seen as a threat. And that's why we're on those lists that Trump put out, because they want to scare us from doing our work. And the second part of your question, brother, I'm sorry, I went on.
Was you kind of, I think it was like, you know, how can we get involved? Is there any avenues, things? But, you know, I mean, speaking up obviously is important, but, you know.
Speaking up is absolutely important. Believe it or not, your donations mean so much, because your donations will allow us to hire admin staff like Doha, who's very amazing. Believe it or not, I got through like 5 of my cases in like 2 weeks because of her. So we need great staff. We need great talent. So if you know great talent, we have job postings at CAIR. We could use that talent, and we could definitely use your donations, because the more money that we have, the more people we can hire, and the bigger of a fight we can put up. Yeah.
Sorry, just because we're short on time and we don't want to cut off anyone from Aisha, just a very, very, very quick recap for everyone, right? Let's go back to the beginning. So, what happens if we encounter ICE? What is rule number 1? Who's going to tell me rule number 1, just to make sure we're aware? Okay, good. So we don't say anything to them, and we give them the card. Everyone has gotten a card now? Okay, alhamdulillah. We give them the card, and what else do? We just tell them we don't want to talk to them. Is that clear for everyone? Okay, cool. Do we know what the warrant looks like? Has everyone taken a photo of the different types of warrants? Judicial. You want the one that's on the left. If you don't get the one that's on the left, you don't do anything. You pretend no one's home. In fact, you pretend no one's home in general, right? And what is the most important thing on the warrant? If it's signed. If it's not signed by a judge, you are not obligated to do anything. We got this? Everyone has taken a photo of this? Okay, alhamdulillah. Next. If they're at your employment or at your school, rule number 1. Be calm. Rule number 2, don't run. Rule number 3, give them the card. Right? Alhamdulillah. Lock the doors.
Okay, keep everybody inside. Wait for them to get bored and go away.
At your home, what is rule number 1? You're not home, right? If anyone comes knocking at your door, don't have like a child screaming inside, ICE is at the door, because then you can't pretend you're not home. Just literally pretend as if you're not home. It's not illegal, you won't get in trouble. How were they supposed to know that you weren't there? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if both your cars are in the driveway, it doesn't matter anything. Do not open the door, right? They will leave. If they don't leave, slide them the card. Place of worship, what did Ramzi say?
Lock the door.
Grab everyone in and lock the doors. It is not illegal. This is your right. You just bring everyone inside. It's not open for non-religious people. We're here to worship. We're having a seminar. We're having a whatever. You do not have to answer the door. It is not your obligation. It is not illegal. You will not be arrested. Tell them it's a private property. If someone tries to come in and they're an ICE member, you tell them this is a private place. It is not public. You cannot come in. Again, not illegal. You will be fine if you do this. In your car, what happens? What? Yeah, so they need a warrant to search your car. You be calm. If you are not the driver, you're not obligated to give them anything whatsoever. It is not illegal. If you are the driver, you have to show your ID. That's it. And what is rule number 1 when interacting with ICE agents? You ask, what do we ask? Am I being detained? Am I being held for a purpose? Why are you holding me? These are the only questions that you should be asking. Other than that, if they take you, you say nothing, you sign nothing, you do nothing except give them the hotline number, or sorry, not give them the hotline number, give them CAIR's number. That's it. Cool? Public spaces. If you see an ICE interaction, do you grab the person who's being grabbed by ICE? Do you try to get them out? Everyone should be shaking their heads. Everyone should be shaking their heads. We do not grab the people who are being grabbed by ICE. It seems like the right thing to do, but you will be detained as well, and then you give us double the work. You record it from how far of a distance? 10 feet. From 10 feet, from me to the sister, even farther. You take a video recording, you keep that on file, you post it on social media, do whatever you want with it. Point is, do not interact with them, only record. You are an observer. Even though it feels like you want to be doing more, don't. Because it's not helping anyone at the end of the day, right? Especially yourself. Okay, and what did we say for safety? Always have proof of your identification on you, always. Whether it's on your phone, whether you have a folded up piece of paper version in your wallet, if you don't want to have it on your phone, just have like some scanned copy, keep it in your back pocket, keep it in whatever, do whatever it is you want. The point is, have some form of identification at all times. That is the most important. Because if you don't, they will take you to a detention facility, and God knows how many days before they find out you're a citizen, or you're a green card holder, or whatever it is. Okay? And last but not least, our contact information. So, thank you all. If you have any questions, will you still be here after Salah?
I think we have one question.
Okay.
So I've heard concerns from a lot of people who are afraid to donate to CAIR and other organizations, Islamic organizations, because they feel mosque has all the data and they're into IRS, etc. So are there concerns? Do you have any comments on those folks who are concerned that their data is going to be used and they'll be tracked because of their donations or support to Islamic organizations?
For sure. Just so you know, if you're a 501c3, you are scrutinized every single year by the US government. So if that 501c3 is doing something screwy, the IRS is going to know about it and they're going to close them down. CAIR, alhamdulillah, has been around since 1994. It's one of the longest serving organizations for the Muslim community in Southern California and now the nation, okay? So I can tell you right now that if you guys have a fear of donating to Muslim organizations or Muslim advocacy groups or whatever it may be, their 501c3s actively are a proof that they're doing everything right. So don't be scared, okay? We need this money more than ever. Because if everybody stops donating, organizations like CAIR go away, and then what's left to help us fight this big fight, all right? Don't be scared. United, it's gonna be hard to take us out. Oh yeah, the donations are anonymous, so if you want it to be. But that doesn't work for tax deductions.
We left a few of the cards here at the top if any of you want to grab them. If you have any questions, please contact CAIR. Thank you.